As we walked in, these cats were just under a bush over here. Just heard them running off. They didn't even growl at us, so at least we know they're in the area. 2 females right here. Pretty exciting, eh? Yeah.
Did you see them?
Yeah, they just ran off in there.
We found that a couple of lions had been visiting one of our baits, so we decided to build a blind on the site. And I had built blinds in the past, but this was a whole unique experience in that putting up this blind in a strategic location, downwind from the bait, and yet all that went into building the blind, the guys even brushed the path totally clear of vegetation, and we could approach the blind on this little private path that we had made, so we could go in there and even leave it in the evening absolutely silently.
One of the things about your primary preparations once you've got some lions feeding on the bait is to make sure that your blind is perfect, but not only your blind. With lions, they're very often going to be physically on the bait when you arrive in the blind. So making sure that you've got a nice path on the way in, making sure that there's nothing that can make noise on the floor of the path, and also putting up toilet paper like we're doing in the background here. What we're doing is putting up toilet paper to indicate where the path is, because you never know. We may be in the pitch dark, either coming out of the blind in the dark or coming in the very early hours of the morning. Louise, what we're going to do is we're going to walk in really, really quietly into this blind. The wind is perfect, what little there is. And this is the perfect time of day. We've probably got about an hour of, maybe a little bit more than an hour of daylight left. Sun's just going down, and so it's a perfect time for the lions to come out and hopefully feed. As we were building the blind today, we know they were right there. So imagine as soon as things have settled down, they've come right out again. So with a bit of luck, here we go.
Okay.
You know, walking into the blind, to start off with, you're just walking down the road. As you start getting closer and closer, it becomes more crucial to be quiet. And so, you know, as one walks in, you don't know if the cats are going to be right there or not. It's last light. We're in the last 45 minutes of light. And sure enough, as we got there, as I kind of lifted my head over to look through the screen, there was a cat. Just an old lioness, exactly what was the perfect lion for this particular safari. Just making sure that one keeps one's movements down to a minimum. One gets into position, but as they're feeding like that, there's a lot of movement. You never know when she's going to drop down, and so making sure that you're nice and steady and waiting for a still shot was absolutely crucial. But man, with all of this preparation, it can be tough to wait that out.
Okay, just wait for it to drop down. Just wait for it to drop down. Okay, don't shoot her while she's lying down. Just wait, she'll stand up. And just shoot her right on the shoulder when she does. Okay, here we go. Right on the shoulder.
No.
You know that the lion probably had a perfect hit. You know that the bush is impossibly thick. You don't know for sure what the hit is, and now you've got to follow into that thick bush. Ready for whatever might come out of the bush, and you never know when or exactly where from.
Woohoo! Come on in.
A perfect shot.
Well, I mean, how can you miss? You just presented yourself so well.
Check at that. Congratulations, man. You did a great job.
You should have heard her growling in here.
Oh, I did. But I didn't know it was a death growl, man.
Well, Louise, you know, that when it comes together, it really comes together. We put a lot of effort into setting this up perfectly. And man, we hadn't been in the blind for 30 seconds when she stepped out.
Incredible. Yeah, it's just like, whoa, it just was a total presentation. And what could you do? I mean, she was just into feeding, and that's all there was to it. She wasn't, we could have probably yelled and she wouldn't have run away. She was so happy.
Well, that's awesome. And just an old girl, just full of scars. And man, she was hooked into that bait. So, man, incredible shooting. Congratulations. Just a great, great trophy at the end of a fun and exciting hunt.
Guy Gorney was hunting a lion in the Zambezi Valley, and you know, the first order of the day, as usual, get some bait down. And so right in the dense thickets, they got right onto a tuskless cow. And a tuskless cow is a great bait because not only is it a great hunt, but you're also going to get 6 really solid lion baits.
We concluded that day by getting the baits up and really set the plan in work with a follow-up the next day to check the baits and see what activity there was. Cat hunting always seems to be a mix of hard work and opportunity. So that first morning, we're up before sunrise so that we can get to the first bait by first light and see if opportunity would grant us a smile on us. We stopped the vehicle well short of the bait site and then decided to slowly walk in and see if we might find cats or whatever still on the bait. We did get to the site. There was nothing there at the bait site, but the bait had been hit very hard. And as we got close and took a look around, we saw the pug marks from 2 large male lions. Following the tracks a bit, our tracker, Tinos, suggested that we go ahead and follow these tracks down the Chowari River. They were clear sign, plenty of easy to follow for a while there. If nothing else, just to see where they crossed in, whether they went back into Sapi or back into our side of the hunting area. At one point along the trek, the cats split, and we stayed with the larger track and continued down the Chowari. As we broke out of the bush, still on the bank, took a look to our left, and there he was, lying fast asleep in the riverbed.
Having spotted the sleeping lion, they quietly and as quickly as they could got into a great position to make the shot. It's not every day you can follow quietly enough to get a predator absolutely unaware of your presence and fast asleep with no thick brush around it, no sticks in the way, and this was absolutely on a plate for Guy.
So you want to be behind that shadow of his front leg coming down.
Watch it. That was too low. Okay, okay. Don't do any more. That, Mr. Gorney, is a very nice lion. So well done. Very nice lion. Well done, sir. Very nice lion. Beautiful. That is an exceptional lion, yeah, boy.
What a wonderful hunt. Each safari is kind of special in its own way, but this one in particular will probably be the highlight of all the hunting I've done, between the game animals taken and then getting this lion in it by tracking.
Yeah.
You know, so often it's on bait, which is fine, but you know, just taking the time to track him while we had good sign in the river and so forth, through the rocks and the rest of it, and brought him right to here. It's just a lifetime memory right here. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you.
African elephant earns his place at the very top of the list of Africa's dangerous game. Just by virtue of his very size, he's a generally placid animal, but when you've got an elephant that's either wounded or enraged, you've got 4 to 6 tons of angry and aggressive animal in pursuit of you. And that gets him right to the very top of the list of Africa's most dangerous. Possibly the most classic of all of Africa's dangerous game, the African elephant. And I think made so by hundreds of years of people in pursuit of the elephant. You hunt elephant with your feet and it's a classic adventure. It's tracking, it's walking, it's coming across multiple bulls, possibly turning them down. But when you finally take a bull and you walk up to him and you put your hands on his ivory, you realize exactly what it is that have kept people coming back time and again on a quest for elephant. The African elephant is a completely unique adversary from the point of view that you can truly interact with them while you're on safari. You get into a group of bulls and very often, if they realize that you're there, the awareness will promote a mock charge or a confrontation of some sort, and very often the way that you handle that and your reaction to that is what will govern the very next step. And that interaction is completely unique in the world of hunting. Contrary to popular belief, the African elephant is not endangered. In fact, in every country in Africa that they occur, there's too many elephants, and their habitat destruction is going to lead to their decline if it goes unchecked. Elephants will reach higher than any other animal, reaching the very tips of a branch. They'll pull bark off a tree. They'll push a tree over to get food. And in doing so, on a small scale, they'll create food availability for many other species. On a large scale, they simply destroy their environment. One of the things that certainly gets my attention when hunting elephant is the feeling of interaction that one gets when one's close to elephant. Particularly large, non-aggressive elephant bulls, you can get into an area, you can have a confrontation, and if you do everything right, you can both walk out of it unscathed. You hunt elephant with your feet, and whether you're in the Zambezi Valley, whether you're in the open plains of Botswana, or right up into Tanzania, very often the beginning of an elephant hunt is looking for tracks on the road. Once you find tracks, there's a lot you can tell from tracks. You can tell the age of the animal, you can tell how long since he went by that area, and so you can generally determine whether it's worthwhile to follow it or not. Then comes the fun part, the tracking of the African elephant. Tracking an elephant through all kinds of brush, you'll often be miles and miles away from the vehicle with no other reason other than tracking elephant to get you into that particular valley, to get you up to that particular spring. And so the experience of hunting elephant becomes such a rich and diverse activity that people just come back for more and more, time and time again. Probably no other animal in Africa is it so important with your choice of weapon and caliber. A heavy caliber weapon is very important. The classic elephant calibers are the double rifles. However, as long as you have a heavy caliber rifle that's able to penetrate 3 to 4 feet of bone and muscle, you're going to have a rifle that's worthy of elephant hunting. .375 or greater is the legal minimum in most countries. However, a lot of people prefer to go a little bit higher, going .416 or even as high as .450 or .500. They say that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth at least 10 times that. So without further ado, let me take you on some hunts that I've been on in the last couple of decades. We're going to go from the aggressive tuskless cows of the Zambezi Valley right up to the magnificent tuskers of East Africa and Botswana. April is a great time to be hunting elephant in Botswana. You can expect clear skies, you can expect good amounts of water, meaning that the elephants are all spread out. What one realizes as the days start to go by and as the elephants start to go by is that this truly is what we're out here for. These multiple experiences of getting up to these giant animals, not only the biggest animals in Africa, but these particular elephants have the genetics to be physically the biggest bodied bulls in Africa.
Having decided that possibly this bull wasn't the one they wanted, but it certainly took a lot of looking at, they decided to go back to camp and call it a day. Yuki had a bit of a sleepless night, tossing and turning, wondering if he had turned down a big bull, and so early the next morning he took Ronnie Kraus, also a very seasoned elephant hunter, and they went out to see if they could find the bull in the same area.
Okay. Jim, let's just go have a look. It's the same bull we saw late last night. So we're just gonna take Ronnie and let him have another look at it as well. Sure. Just get a second opinion and then we can decide. That's fine. Okay.
Sure enough, it wasn't long before they came across the track, and they went in, and there was the bull not very far from where he'd been the evening before.
Just wait here, we're just gonna get a little bit closer. We don't want to spook them. What did you think it was? Last night I didn't think it was as thick, but it looked good this morning.
I don't think there's much question. This is the angle is wrong. I can't see the length of it, but the thickness. Whew, looks good, man.
I think so. Let's go back and we get Jim. Yeah. Myself and Ronnie talked about, we think if it's not going to be 60, it would be around that 60 mark, but it's a hell of a nice elephant.
Yeah, he's been asking for it. He's been hanging around for chasing us. Works for me. Yep.
You think so?
Okay. Works.
Okay. Okay. We gaan die stokken opzetten. En dan kan je hem back up daar. Schiet op maar zo. Just gonna have to get in a position. Give him time to come out. Slowly, perfect. Okay, take it. Good shot. Come with me. Reload. Come here. Go down on your knee, and I want you to shoot him right here. Kneel down. Okay. Jesus, that's a nice bull. Well done, Jim. Perfect shot. That's a very nice bull. Gee.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done.
Excellent bull.
Yeah, come around this side. Good Lord, this thing is thick. This thing is much thicker than we thought. How does that feel, Jim?
It feels absolutely amazing. Sure, I got hurt. We've got an elephant. Wow.
Well, Jim, we set out this morning looking for elephants, and we bumped into this guy. It's the same guy we saw last night. So we decided to get Ronnie, he was close by, to come and have a look at it, just give us a second opinion. And yeah, we decided that it was the right bull, and you made a perfect shot. Maybe you want to run us through that.
Well, it was after you run all the way over what feels like you're running. It says you get set up on the sticks, and it says you see him, and he was moving his head back and forth, and it says, and he had one stick that kept getting in the way, and he moved back and forth, and then finally he kept saying hold it, and then he finally moved around into exactly the right area, took the shot, and they were absolutely right. I didn't feel the recoil at all, which is the first time with this gun, and but it extremely exciting and extremely pleasing, and it says I think it was a great choice, and just glad to be a part of it.
As a boy, it was always my dream to hunt Africa. I dreamed of the sunsets, I dreamed of the wildlife, and I knew that one day I would leave my footprints on the sands of the great continent. I first set foot in Africa in 2004, and within a day I knew I would return time and time again. Double guns have always fascinated me, and to carry a double in search of big game was one of my dreams. Hunting elephant, the largest and most majestic game of all, carrying a double gun, the most classic and tasteful rifle of all. This is Africa, my dream, my time, and my story.